Welcome to the Drop the Needle podcast, your backstage pass to the corporate jungle. I'm your host, Jim Allstott, and here, industry titans step up to the mic, sharing their epic journeys. We're hitting the high notes and the low notes of their careers, creating a symphony of success. This isn't just another interview show, it's where truth bombs are dropped and secrets are revealed. So grab your conductor's baton because who knows, this just might help you compose the next huge hit of your career. Are you ready? Let's go.
That's right.
Hi, everyone, and welcome back to the Drop the Needle podcast. I am your host, Jim Allstott, and I'm so happy you all decided to join us for part 2 of our 3-part series coming out of the spiritual closet. Okay. I'm very happy to bring back our very special guest, Irene Doreste from Long Island, New York, to continue with part 2. And don't worry if you didn't listen to part 1. It's not too late to download it and enjoy it. All you have to do is go to dtnpodcast.podbean.com, where you'll find a link to like, follow, and subscribe to the Drop the Needle podcast on your favorite podcast platform. Okay. So in episode 1, we covered intuition and energy, which was incredibly eye-opening and a show I urge you to download. Episode 2, we'll be covering signs and synchronicities. Again, a little background on our guest. Irene has a BA as well as a Bachelor's of Science, and her Bachelor of Arts is in Psychology and Social Work, and her Bachelor of Science is in Nursing. She's a registered nurse, and she worked at Sloan Kettering Cancer Center in the Neurology and Orthopedics Department. She's a Usui Reiki Master, which is a Tibetan Reiki. She's also got an advanced integrated energy practitioner certification. She's certified in crystals and other divination tools. And she is a transformational life coach and a mindset trainer who works with adults, kids, and teens. She's also the founder and owner of Soul Surgery Life Coaching. Oh, yes. One more thing. Irene is a spiritual medium. Ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, please join me in welcoming my friend, Irene Doreste. Welcome, Irene.
Jim, thank you so much for that introduction. That's amazing. It sounds like I've done a lot of things over a long period of time, and it's just interesting how life comes full circle.
I got to tell you, you've done a lot. What do you mean? It sounds like a lot. Holy crap.
You say it out loud. I'm like, minute, no.
Oh, and you forgot this.
Yeah,
Firewalker, something like that. That's your next certification.
I haven't done that. Well, raising 4 kids definitely as close to firewalking as I'll ever get.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. And tightrope walking and sword swallowing, all that stuff. Right. Oh yeah. Yeah. Axe catching. Yes. Caught it. With my teeth.
Years, but it's all good. Yeah. So, well, thank you for having me back on the show. I was very excited to be here, and I love talking about spirituality, and coming out of the spiritual closet was big for me. It was when I was younger, I always felt like I was, intuitive. I could kind of read the room. I felt people's energy, but I didn't know that's what I was doing. And then, when I was in college and went to, nursing school, everything was my logical mind. Everything was about, the body and, neurology and really just how the brain worked. And then falling into, energy work and integrated energy therapy, everything kind of came full circle. And then soul surgery kind of came about because the best saying that I always like to put into perspective is we have a mind, we have a body, but what we are souls living a human experience. And we're here to experience life, right? So, but our bodies and our brains are always talking to each other, and we just don't notice. All we think is that our logical brain is steering the ship. And it is, it really is. Our thoughts create our reality. But when we start to drop into our bodies and pay attention to what our body's saying, and then move that energy around through Reiki and integrated energy therapy, it really lightens that load, so people that are stressed or have anxiety or phobias and fears, you can really work with energy to loosen that, and we call it imprinting, right? So we have imprint that we develop through the years, especially as children, and ancestral patterns and beliefs that are put onto us, and then we are just taking on everybody else's stuff. So when we do the integrated energy therapy, we really kind of get down into where these beliefs started and where these imprints, came about, and then we can start to undo them, and then look through a different lens and see things from a different perspective, that not everything that is told to us we need to believe.
Right.
But, through our grandparents and parents and education and everything, we just take on all this information, and we are meaning making machines. So we make everything mean something about us or mean something. So, that's where our self-worth comes, and our doubts and our fears. And, so working
all the shit.
Yeah. Everything just piles on. And so with working with the mind, the body, and, us being a soul, having a human experience, it kind of puts life into a different perspective. And coming out of the spiritual closet, was hard, because I was just me, I was me doing my thing, raising my kids, working. And when I started getting into holistic health, people were like, where did that come from? And it just it was fascinating to me. And then everything came full circle. So it really just, they say you don't find your life's purpose finds you. And so I think that's where I am now.
Well, my life's purpose better hurry its ass up and find me, because I'm done. I'm done waiting around. Yeah. Damn it. Okay. So in the previous episode, like I said, we talked about energy and intuition, and in today's episode, we're going to be discussing signs and synchronicities. So what I want to do, if you're okay with this, I'd like to start with talking about the importance of kind of clearing away the chatter, the noise, right? That just goes in, that can sometimes just be a roar in the brain. And I know one way of doing that is with the 5 senses check-in, which can also be considered a meditation. What I'd really like you to do, if you don't mind, is maybe just take a few moments here and bring us through that meditation. Are you cool with that?
Yeah, sure. So just to start off, the notion of meditation. Most people think that I don't have time to meditate. My brain won't ever quiet down. How do I stop my thoughts? I can't sit for 30 seconds. Yeah. So we always our logical brain is talking us out of it all the time. Like, don't worry, you don't have the time. You can't, go to an ashram, or you can't sit out in nature and, take the time to do it, because we're busy, right? We have things going on. So basically, there are all types of meditations, and meditations can be beautiful, and you can do on YouTube, they have guided meditations that can take you to places, and it's really just a beautiful experience. But if for the beginners, for the people that are coming out of the closet that want to try, right, to meditate and say, I can't, I've tried, I can't, you need to light incense and a candle. Yeah, those are all sacred ceremonies that people do, to just help you relax, really, is what it does. If you light a candle and just stare at the flame, it becomes mesmerizing. Or if you light some incense or essential oils, it just kind of relaxes your nervous system a little bit. It just kind of gets you into that relaxed state so that your mind can kind of slow down, because we're on that hamster wheel of life, and our thoughts are, constantly going. So I love to do the 5 senses check-in, and I'm so happy to, to be able to take you into that. But with that being said, the science behind the 5 senses check-in is that when your 5 senses are checked in and tuned in, you can't have a thought. right? Your thoughts stop because your senses are checked in. So you're coming out of the sympathetic nervous system. I think we talked about this in episode 1.
Right.
Was we're running on fight or flight. Our sympathetic nervous system is always working, and when your 5 senses are checked in, it clicks on the parasympathetic nervous system, which is rest and reset.
Which is
really
vital.
Right. So this is what it's all about. And really, if you, I'm going to do the 5 senses with you, but really, coming back to the breath is the best meditation you can possibly do. All you have to do, if you're sitting in the car, you're waiting to go into a meeting, you're waiting the kids are taking exams, is just to focus on your breath.
I was just going to have you explain that for some people. I was just going to have you explain that for people that may not understand what coming back to the breath means or is. So I'm sorry to interrupt you, but I think that is important that somebody knows, because all those things that we were just talking about, where you think that you have to be on this pillow or on a mountaintop or something like that, when you can actually be in your car and do this. Can you maybe explain that a little bit?
Sure. So also, when you come back to the breath, that's your center. That's where peace lives, right? That peace is our natural state of being. So when you come back to the breath, sometimes it takes 3 to 5 breaths. You're already putting on your your parasympathetic nervous system. It's coming back to and resting and resetting. So when you just focus on your breath, or if something's happening, you just breathe in through your nose, nice full, belly, hold it at the top, blow it out nice and slow. Pay attention to the air going in through your nose, holding it, and then sometimes letting it out with an audible sigh. Just, just relaxing into the chair that you're sitting in.
I'm going to mute myself during this because nobody needs to hear a wind tunnel.
Right. And the deeper you go, the deeper on the inhale, holding it and really like letting it out, filling up that belly breath and just holding it at the top. And sometimes we call it box breathing. You can imagine a box, breathing up, holding it, going across, going down. There's so many little, tricks of the trade that you can do, but really it's just coming back to the breath. Usually it takes 3 to 5 breaths just to breathe in through your nose, out through your mouth. And we'll start with that, and then we'll go right into the 5 senses check.
Cool. Can't wait. Let's go.
So anyone out there, if you're driving, please don't do this. You can listen to the replay and do it again.
Don't close your eyes.
Don't close your eyes. But if you're listening at home or you're in a comfortable place, just find a comfortable place. And what I want you to do right now is just take a deep breath in, just in through your nose, hold it, and out through your mouth. But before we start, I just want you to check in with your body, like if you're doing a body scan. And from the top of your head, your forehead, your eyebrows, your ears, your jaw, your neck, your shoulders, is there any tension? Are you sweating? Are you cold? Is there any discomfort? Just notice. Drop down to your heart, your lungs, your stomach, your arms, your hands, your legs, your knees, your calves, your feet. Just want you to notice. Now I just want you to take a deep breath in. Hold it. Let it out. Another deep breath in for 4. Hold it. And out for 4. And now with your eyes open, I want you to take a look around the room. I want you to notice the color of the wall, the way the light shades, and start looking at the colors and textures, maybe the texture of the furniture or the chair you're sitting on, carpet, noticing any objects. And now, with your eyes closed, I want you to invoke the sense of hearing. And with your left ear, I want you to notice any sounds coming from the room. Is the air condition buzzing? Is there music playing? And now with your right ear, notice the sounds that are coming from outside the room. Is there a car going by? Are there people talking? Just notice what you hear. And now I want to invoke the sense of touch. Notice the way your clothes feel on your body. Are they soft, loose, tight? And then invoke the sense of smell. Are there any smells coming from the room? Is there a candle burning? Is someone cooking something outside the room? Coffee? And when you're ready, you can open your eyes.
I love that. I really do.
Mhm.
And I purposefully this time kept my eyes open to see if it would make any difference to me in being able to kind of relax, and just, I was going to say zone out, but it's really not zoning out. It's just
Mhm.
coming in. And it really didn't. I wasn't distracted by anything that I was like, oh, I wonder if I'm going to get distracted by that. I wonder if, before I even started, because I
Yeah.
knew ahead of time I wanted to do that because it was just an experiment for myself. But it wasn't.
Yeah.
It's amazing that just the fact that you're talking about the breathing and coming back to the breath. It is so amazing that you're able to do that and just kind of
Yeah.
drop into that calm.
Into your senses. And so,
Yeah.
and I just want to ask you, for those who just followed along with us, while we were doing that, was anybody worrying about the future, regretting the past? Was anyone, were their thoughts getting in the way?
I can say no for me, but I would imagine
Right?
nobody else.
Because when your five senses are checked in, you're not worrying about the future, regretting the past. You're right here in the present moment. And that's where peace lives. And that's what I love about these exercises. And what I love about meditation is you're in the present moment. When you come back to the breath, that is where your peace lives. That's rest and reset. We're on the go, on the go, on the go constantly, that we never give ourselves a minute. So so like I said, when you're in the car, you're picking up your kids, you're waiting to go into a meeting, you're waiting online and, at the grocery store and it's taking forever, or you're waiting at a food truck in the line, just come back to the breath. Don't get crazy. Don't get yourself in having all these thoughts. I'm going to be late. Hurry up. Just come back to the breath.
Those
Look
are
around,
fantastic
look at the
suggestions,
trees,
by the way. I
you
mean,
know?
seriously,
Yeah.
those are fantastic suggestions because you just hit on some of the things that would normally stress. Well, they stress me out sometimes, or get me going. Oh, come on, let's go. One
Yeah.
of those things versus just like, okay, relax.
Yeah.
It's not
Just
that
look
big a
around.
deal, right?
Tap into your five senses, right? Just look at, look at the
Right.
stuff around the store. Look at things maybe you haven't noticed. Look at the colors. Notice the temperature of the room. Just feel the clothes on your body. Just tap into your senses, because your mind's going to take you all sorts of places that we don't need it to be. And then when we come back to the present moment, come back to the breath, it's rest and reset, and your nervous system is thanking you.
Yeah.
Because as soon as you
Yes.
start on the hamster wheel of these thoughts, we're running out of the grocery store. We're not nice to the checkout person. We're, jumping in our car. Just come back to the present moment. Right. And it works for me every time. And I love to do
love
that.
though.
But I also want to ask you now is just to do another body scan. Just kind of quickly, just check, did you have tension before you started? Are you a little more relaxed? Is your jaw relaxed? Are you kind of settling into just listening to this podcast?
Well, I can personally say that I had a little stress or tension in the neck and, in the back of my neck, and going through that, immediately it went away. I stopped thinking about it. So that was cool. I enjoyed that.
So imagine if you did it as a daily practice.
Oh, yeah. Right. And that's one of those things that, I do have a meditation practice that I follow, but I'll also wrap myself out and say that I don't do it every day. And, the funny thing about it is that I know better. Because when I do take that time for meditation, which is to calm and open myself up to being present and in the present moment, my day is so much better. And as a result, everybody else's day around me is so much better because all of that starts from within, right? So, I mean, it's just amazing. And I don't know why the hell I don't do it, but I don't every day. But you know what? I do know, because the brain starts to kick in and say, you know what? For that 15 minutes, I could probably be doing something else, like work related or, whatever that quite honestly isn't as important as that for me and everyone around me and everyone that I deal with. It isn't as important. And I think I need to start doing that. I just came to that realization right now that
you're being
you
human.
Do that.
So we fall back into our humanness, and that's what we do. We're our ego mind or our logical mind's like, listen, Jim, you don't have time for this. You have so much more to do. You can't just drop in. You can't be sitting there for 20 minutes and being in la la land, right? That people think that that's what meditation is about, but you're really doing yourself, your nervous system, and your body a favor. Right.
Yeah.
Because when
A
your
huge
energy
favor.
changes, everybody's energy changes. So, we spoke about energy last week, at our last episode, is that when you walk into the room and you're open and you're, ready to receive, people will receive that. When you're coming in like a bull in a china shop and your energy's all over the place, people feel
Hands
that.
up.
That's the first thing. That's
right.
People say like your first impression. The first impression that you're making is your energy that's coming into the room.
Right.
So if you need to be calm, cool, and collected, you need to take a few breaths before you enter into somewhere, whether it's a Thanksgiving dinner with your family and you need to ground and protect yourself from everybody else's energy, or you need to,
those crazy bastards.
Go into a business meeting, you don't know, so you want to just make sure you're grounded and you're centered and you're, at peace. And then you can step into whatever, situation you're going into.
So I know that when we were talking about some of the things that you're able to do, from a mediumship type of thing, and we're talking about being. You mentioned being an open channel. So you also said to me outside of the show that everything starts basically from the meditation to be open to whatever comes to you. So what is it about that allows for those things to come in, those downloads? I don't even know what you call them. I get, we're talking about signs and synchronicities and things like that. So being open to whatever comes to you, what is that?
Okay. So being a clear and open channel, it all comes back that everything is energy, right? Everything is energy. We're energetic beings, and back to, we have a mind, we have a body, but we're souls living a human experience. When someone passes away or transitions, their mind ceases to exist. Their body is no longer there, but their soul is the energetic space that is eternal. Right.
Okay.
So that's how you can connect with source. That's how you connect with your loved ones, because everything is energy. And then when we talk about our clairs, our clair senses, just like our five senses, we have clairvoyance, clairaudience, clairsentience, clairgoustience. That's, seeing, hearing, feeling, knowing, smelling, all those five senses. That's how you become a clear and open channel.
Okay.
But what you need to do is, you really, with meditation and the practice of meditation, why it's so important in my practice is because you need to shut down that logical mind. All right. So our left-sided brain is the logical mind. That's where all our thinking comes from. And that's our ego. So you kind of, in meditation, you get into the, the beta theta states. That is more of that meditative state. And when you drop into that, which you can quickly do with just a few breaths, is you drop into those, the theta state, and you connect to source. So we do a visualization. Some people do it, as we, say a little opening prayer that we're open to spirit, we're open to receive the message. And then we drop into that state and ask to be a clear and open channel. So then some people take an elevator or go up, ascend the thing of stairs, right? So in the meditations, you can say count to, almost count to from 1 to 10, because that's like, it's almost like hypnosis. Like you're really getting into that theta state. Or, if I'm in a rush, I take the elevator. And so
right.
I'm like, I don't have time for the steps today. I'm going to go to the elevator. And then I open up to, the angelic realm, and I ask for their assistance to bring in any loved ones and families that, family members that have hope and healing messages for the person I'm reading.
That's so interesting. I mean, talk about, it's such a polarizing, or it's a lightning rod topic, right?
Yeah.
Because just not to get too far off of this, but there are a fair share of charlatans out there, and phonies, and people that take advantage of people that are, I guess, no other way to say it, sometimes just desperate for something, whatever that something is. They're coming across in this desperate mode, and they're willing to pay anything to get there.
Unfortunately, I think in any profession, there is always that risk. And you should just, get a good sense of who the reader is. And, a lot of times it's definitely funny that you just mentioned it. I don't want to get too far off track, but, I used to love going to, psychics and mediums. And what are they going to have to say or whatever? And some were good and some were amazing. And, but you have to trust, like you have to have a little bit of trust there. And with me, they're like, I didn't expect you to be the way you are. Some are super quiet and you're like freaking out. They're, you don't know what they're going to say to you. And I'm just myself with the reading, and it comes in your own thoughts. So what blows me away still when I do the readings, it comes in my own thoughts, and I'm like, this means nothing to me. I'm just writing down what I'm hearing, and I'm getting maybe names or dates, and I'm asking questions, and I'll just write it down. And then I jump on Zoom, or if the person's in front of me, then I show them what I got, and they're like, oh my God, it totally resonates. So it comes in your own thoughts, and it takes practice because you doubt it. You're like, and when you doubt something, it can't come to you. So you have to lean into the trust and be open, that spirit is going to send you, you know, a loved one or an angel or someone that needs to hear the message that they need to hear. And my mentor and what I take pride in is that it's not about the validation of the loved one that's here. It's the hope and healing messages that they have to bring you, you know, and that's what's more important.
Right.
So I'm not going to, you know, ever tell you, you know what I mean? Like, I don't ask
Yeah.
for bad things. I don't ask for, you know, it's not like a psychic medium who's telling your future. It's more connecting to the angelic realm and your loved ones.
So, and that's interesting too. You had mentioned trust or have faith. And I think that goes on both sides, right? I mean, obviously you as the person that's getting that information, but is it a sittee or sitter or whatever, whoever
Yeah.
the person is that's getting the reading has to, I guess, trust
Yeah, they have
you
to be
too,
open,
right?
because if you're just coming to stump the psychic and say, "Oh, let me see what she has
Nope,
to say," or
nope,
whatever.
nope.
No, yeah, and if you're closed, then I can't give you anything really.
Right.
And what I always tell everyone that I read for is this is a three-way conversation between me, you, and spirit. So the
Yeah.
more you talk, the more I ask to be a clear, open channel. And then we've had readings, you know, you and I
Yes.
just go, you know, and then at the end, I'm like, oh, you know, I didn't even, not that I realized I knew what I was saying, but sometimes I'm just speaking and
Yeah,
it's
but it
coming.
doesn't make sense to you because it has no relevance to
Yeah.
you. So, and
So you
for,
get in your ego because you're like, I'm
yeah,
seeing this and I'm seeing this and this is strange and, you know, whatever, but it means something to the person that you're reading. So that's
it
where the
does.
mediumship comes into, and it's, I love it. I personally love it because, just we as humans hold on to our humanness, and when we lose loved ones, we want to know that they're okay. We want to know that we can communicate with them and they are there for us, which
Right.
leads me into the signs and synchronicities.
Yes.
It's like, still for me, I've been doing this for a while, it's still mind-blowing to me when I get a sign or you know, a synchronicity, and I'm like, man, life is magical if we let it be. You know, once
Yeah.
you start opening and trusting and saying like, this isn't hocus pocus and this is all crazy, like when you really start trusting that the universe has your back and that you can really just lean into that, like it becomes fun.
Yeah, I could see
You
that.
know, for me anyway,
Well,
it's really kind of fun.
you've been experiencing that and been exposed to it a lot long. Well, longer. You know, 2 minutes would be longer than me. You know, but seriously though, I mean, think about it. From it's all it's. I guess you go into it with the mind, the logical mind. Okay, we'll go back to what you had said before with the logical mind, because that's our MO, right? We're gonna approach things from a logical perspective. And what you're saying, and what some of the things that you have said to me, if if I if I weren't open to it, let's just put it this way: if I weren't open to it, it would not be logical, and it would blow your mind. You'd be like, how the hell do you know that?
Mm-hmm.
And for anybody, I'll just, if you're okay with this. So in one of the readings that Irene did for me, she described my childhood bedroom with a green and blue plaid bedspread and my little desk and trophies that were in the room, sports trophies. I think she even said bowling trophies or something like that. And it's like, oh, okay, how the hell did she know that? And so I said something to my wife, and she's like, you know, teenagers are all going to have. I said, hold on a second. She didn't know my bedroom had my bed had that blue and green plaid, and well, you know how old she knows how old you are, and she could guess that, and that would be a fashion at that. I was like, oh my god, no,
Mm.
no, I'm sorry. And the bowling trophies, no,
Yeah.
I'm sorry. No, that's not coincidence. There was, and you know what? I guess if you wanted to try to paint it in that light, you could. You could, oh, that's just coincidental. This is coincidental. But it wasn't just that, right? There were more things. It was like there were too many coincidences to be a coincidence.
Yeah.
I guess
Right.
is
And when
is the way to say it.
I go into a meditation, I'm not reading into it. You know what I mean? Like I actually push that away because I
Right.
say, give me something that only they will know and understand.
That's right.
Because
That's
a
right.
lot of times I'll read for friends and family, and I get in my ego because I'm like, I know that their parents had passed. I know their situation. I
Right.
knew their childhood, experiences. So when I do that, I really go in and I say, listen, I don't want to know the stuff that I know in the human world. Give me a shared memory
Right.
that only that person will know and understand. And then when that comes through, I get so excited. So, I don't know. It's
Well,
just
I
nice
did. It
to
was
know that it's connected. But it's
it was
okay
amazing.
because there's no offense taken because people it's new to spirituality, like I always say, is religion is believing in a power higher than us, whether it's a god or source or the
Right.
universe. But spirituality is believing in the power within. So it's not,
Yes.
so that
Big
to
difference.
know that we are energetic beings, and you can be your own medium. Like we do, I do automatic writing, and I just open, I asked to be a clear and open channel. I put, beautiful music on it, and I just channel, and I'll write. And sometimes I'll ask a question like, get me through this. What do I do about this? And I'll just journal and just let the pen freely, write as many pages. Sometimes it's just a couple paragraphs. Sometimes it's a couple of pages. And then it's like, I got all that negative thoughts and all that loop out of my brain onto the page. And then you can either burn it or you can, crumple it
Right.
up, or you can ask for specific messages if you really want to go, deeper into it.
Right.
There's so many ways that the human mind gets in our way, right? Because we're not taught anything different. We're not taught that we're energetic beings in school. We're not taught that
No.
we can be open and that everything is energy, and that's where coming out of the spiritual closet is my message is, one thing, your mess is your message, right?
Right.
And
Right.
so to be open and trusting. And when these things kind of came about, I was like, well, how am I going to step into the world and, tell everybody that I grew up with now that I'm a medium. So it's just interesting, but it's
Were
been,
you always though? I mean, you hear about people, and I admit that one of my favorite author is
Mhm.
Jennifer Weigel, and she went on I guess it's a crusade, uh, or a pilgrimage, essentially, from a spiritual sense, that she wanted to out all of them as being
Mhm.
fake and phonies. That's how she
Okay.
started.
Gotcha. Yeah.
But then it all evolved, and she knows one of your friend, Pat Longo.
Yeah.
She's
Mhm.
friends with Pat, and
Mhm.
so what she was talking about on that spiritual journey was starting out with debunking it. But the interesting thing with a lot of the people that she spoke with, they all had something happen at a certain age where, and sometimes it was really, really young, and they stuffed it down and said, because their parents were freaked out or they
Mhm.
were freaked out.
Yeah.
No, don't want to listen, don't want to listen, don't want to do it. And then it comes back. And like it never went away, but it was like tucked away,
Yeah.
until you were ready to do it again. Did that happen to you? Was there, like, when you were young, can you recall something like that going on?
No, I don't remember much about my childhood. I know that I was very intuitive.
Okay. Okay.
I was always, I kind of, I think I said it before, like I always would read the room. I always kind of
Sure.
I was quiet, which is shocking now,
I
but
don't believe that for a
I
second.
was quiet, and I would always I thought it was observing, but I think it was really just, understanding people's energies and if I got a
Sure.
good vibe or a bad. But just a quick story, because I can talk forever, is my son, when he was young, two things happened. My grandfather had passed away, and he was in Florida. And my daughter, it's a long story, but my daughter had planted these sunflowers, and she was pissed off that we didn't help her plant. So she just put them in the bush and they started growing. And I'm like, what are these things, stalks growing in my driveway? And then I realized they were sunflowers, and they were like closed. And my grandfather had passed away. My mom calls me. She was in Florida, and I was rushing out the door to get them to somewhere. So they were in car seats. So I had 3 kids in car seats, and I was putting one in, then the other, and strapping them. And I forgot my bag, and I ran back out. And my son turns around. I'm like, "What are you doing in the driveway?" I had him buckled,
Right.
in his seat. And he goes, in Greek, we call grandfather Papu. So he goes, Mom, he says, I just saw Papu. He was walking up the driveway. And I was like, oh, I'm like,
Gulp.
okay. And as I looked,
What?
and as I turned around, the 4 sunflowers were in full bloom. Now,
oh my God.
it was like the day before, they were like closed tight, like not even, you didn't see one thing of yellow. And my grandfather always used to sing, "You Are My Sunshine." And he, sunflowers is a big thing in our family. And I have 4 kids, all 4 of those sunflowers were completely open. So when they talk about synchronicities and things, happening, and it was his way of knowing that, he was still with us, but it blew my mind. It blew my mind. And then when my son was younger, a friend of ours lost their son, and it was the year anniversary of the passing. And we were flying in a plane, and my son leans up to me and he goes, "Mom," and I don't want to say his name, but he goes, "I just saw our friend. He was in the clouds. He waved to me."
Oh my gosh.
And I started crying because I knew it was the year anniversary of his passing. My son didn't. My son was 5. And he was looking out the plane.
No concept of time, right?
And he says he saw him in a cloud, and he waved to me, and they were close friends. He was a little boy when he passed. So,
oh my gosh.
when children are young, they're open, they're wide open, and they'll say these things or do these things. Or my son was little, and he had a globe. My mom brought him a globe, and she said, "Where do you live?" And she was trying to get him into the United States. And he goes, "No, I lived here." And he pointed to Greece. And he says, "A long time ago, I lived there."
Wow.
And he described a little bit about it and and all this stuff. And my mom was blown away because he was open. But what happens,
holy
you
shit,
get older, life happens to us, the veil comes down, we're in our logical ego minds, and life takes off, and they forget. But we used to teach the kids, when they were open and they didn't like it, they couldn't control it, we just zip yourself up, and that you're closed to spirit. And when you're open to spirit, and when you want to connect, you can just imagine that undoing that zipper or zipping it up, almost like flipping on a light switch or off. Just you're open, or you don't want to be open.
Close.
Some people say they hear people all the time. And I don't do that. I live my normal life, and as we're talking, I'm not seeing people all around you because we're just having a conversation. But when I'm ready to sit and meditate and connect, it's intentional.
That would be a lot to handle, I would think, that if you couldn't shut off. And I know that Jen Weigel talks about having an open for business and close for business. And as soon as my head touches the pillow, business hours are done.
Yeah.
You have to respect that. Leave me alone until I'm ready to go. It can start brushing, when you're brushing your teeth, you're going. And it's just amazing to me because I don't think that I have that going on. Maybe I do. Maybe I just push it down, but I don't know. And I know that you said that you don't have to be special to do that. Anybody can do it. But anyway, I want to talk, and I'm sorry I'm jumping, but we also have to be mindful of our time too.
Yes.
With signs and synchronicities, but I want to talk about signs specifically because I know that people have numbers, right? Recurring numbers or songs or recurring situations. What's that about? And I know like Jen will say, if it happens to me in threes, then I know, okay, there's something there.
Yeah.
What's that about? What's
Yeah.
the recurring numbers or numbers?
So the universe is always trying to get our attention, but we're so busy. We never pay attention. So angels, loved ones, the universe, whatever you want to call it, whatever you believe is,
Okay.
they're always trying to get our attention. And sometimes, most of the times, we just don't. We're not seeing it. We don't even know it's available. So what happens is the universe will start showing you repeating numbers, and like 1111 or 222 or 333, or
Right.
a birthday like 1221. Like whatever, or a loved one.
Which is your
Yeah,
birthday. I remember that.
my birthday. Yeah. So I see 1221 all the time. And I always say, I just now I'm wrong for doing it, but now I'm just like, hey, angels, how you doing? And I just kind of go on my way. But what you need to do is when you start seeing those repeating numbers, or you see a cardinal or the butterfly, or
Right.
like for my brother, he comes to me as a dragonfly. So he
cool.
comes buzzing in, and I always make the mistake of saying, hey, I'm glad you're here. But you're supposed to stop and ask, what is my message? So when you see those numbers, when you see the repeating numbers, it's the universe saying you're on the right track, or slow down. Or if you see
Right.
666, it means watch your thoughts, right? If it's 222, you know what I mean? That there's different.
Did you see that in the mirror, like on your neck or something?
What?
666.
No. 666, you're an idiot. But 666 is watch your thoughts, right?
Yeah.
It's the
You're an idiot.
yeah.
All right, Damien.
So those kind of things. So what you're supposed to do, if you see a cardinal, if you identify with something as a loved one that's crossed
Right.
over, some people see dimes or nickels, or ladybugs, whatever you resonate with. Stop. Think of that person, right? Think of your grandparent or a sibling or whoever a spouse.
Right.
Think of that person. Put your hand on your heart and say, "What is my message?" And usually the first thought that drops in
Is your message.
is your message.
That's interesting.
And usually, if you're starting to see those repetitive numbers, it's the universe, whatever you're thinking about, whatever you're worried about right now. And now you're seeing, oh my God, I saw 333 like 18 times today. Like I look at the clock and, or you look on a billboard, or you see it everywhere. Stop and think what you're worried about, what's going on in your life. And then, like I said, take a few breaths, put your hand on your heart and say, what is my message? And it will come to you.
That is the thing for me. I think I do similar things to what you were talking about. If you see the cardinal, hi dad, hi so-and-so, whomever,
Yeah.
or dimes or something like that. Hey, thanks for stopping by, or a song or something like that. And I don't do what is that message? What is the message you have for me? And I think that I need to start doing that. That's like that one extra thing.
Make it a practice, especially if you have people that have passed, and that you really want to connect with. If you're feeling that you're missing them and you want a message, it's the best way to do it. And sometimes what I'll do too, if something's really weighing on my mind, I'll just come in, like I said before, and I'll journal it.
That's great.
That's
a good thing.
Put on music. I light a candle. I ask God and the angels and my loved ones, if they have guidance for me. How do I get through this? What are my next steps? So talking about signs, synchronicities, and
Right.
I think our next episode is angels,
Yes.
which is amazing. And it's just a little sneak peek into that. Is your angels and guides are around you all the time, but if you don't ask for help, they can't intervene.
Uh-huh.
So that's why. So you need to ask permission. You need to give them permission. Say, I'm asking for your, what my next steps are. Please come around me. Show me a sign.
They're
And that's
welcome
the
in
best
my
part. And
world
that's my
all the
story
time.
with my signs is, and they come in musical songs, lyrics and songs all the time. When you're listening, if something's on your mind and something's going on, and all of a sudden you change the channel, the station, and you listen to the lyrics, they come through,
That's
lyrics
amazing.
songs, and it's beautiful when you're
Yeah.
open and you're like, holy shit. Like, it really it becomes, like I said before, life gets magical because I'm
Oh
so
yeah.
open, and I'll be driving and I'll listen and singing my songs, and then all of a sudden I'll get a lyric and I'm like, that's my message,
Yeah.
slow down, right? You're taking too fast,
Yes. Yeah.
just you're doing those. And usually those are your angel messages, and it's never
Yep.
going to be a step by step. Here you go. This is what you need to, exactly what you need to do. But it's going to be kind, and it's going to be patient, and it's going to be loving. The messages are always going to be in that form.
So I'm going to tell a little story. Then I want to two things. I want you to talk about your yellow balloon story, if you're cool with that. But
Yeah.
before we do that, there's two things. Well, I'll tell you the one thing, and then I'll come back to the other one after you tell your yellow balloon story. So I had told you this, as you know, that on a trip I was with a friend. I'll just say that, and they were talking about burnout, and that I don't know if I can keep doing this. I don't know if I could, if I can stay at my employer. I don't know if it's worth it. Blah 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 blah. And as a friend, you just go, yeah, listening. So we walk into this brewery, and on the over the speakers comes a song called Vienna by Billy Joel. And the lyrics are, slow down, you crazy child. You're so ambitious for a juvenile. But then if you're so smart, tell me, why are you still so afraid? Slow down. What's the hurry about? You better cool it off before you burn it out. You got so much to do and only so many hours in the day. So first of all, probably very few people out there know that song or the lyrics of Vienna. And there's nothing in front of me. I know that song. And the importance of that is that that's not on the radio. Nobody plays Vienna from Billy Joel on the radio. And I walked up to the bartender, or who are the person pouring the beers behind the counter. And I said, well, who's a Billy Joel fan? Nobody. What are you talking about? What do you mean Billy Joel fan? I said, that was a deep cut. Nobody plays Vienna. Well, that's the first time I heard that. And I was just like, holy shit.
Yeah.
That was
that was
one
meant
of those
for your
signs.
friend.
That was the answer.
If you're not open to it, you miss it, right? You miss the message.
Well, I know they weren't open to it.
Yeah.
Like, what do you mean, Vienna?
You caught it, but if you're not really thinking about it, you're just being in your humanness, we miss it.
That's kind of crazy.
So what
though.
I love, and I tell my kids, and I tell everyone, all that my kids' friends all come in my office, and we all talk about stuff, and they've taken all my classes, and they're great. And now they come in, they're like, Mrs. D, you got, you won't believe what I saw, or I got this message, or I did this. And now, like, I love that the younger generations are starting to just be open, and they're excited about, the power within them, and they're seeing things from a different perspective, especially after the classes that I teach. And, they're so open, even my husband's a little more open, and he'll say, like, I saw an angel, or, I mean,
that's cool.
He saw a sign, or he has a crystal now, and he's like, I lost my crystal, So,
oh, wow. That's awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah. But, just for those people that are
Yeah.
listening and really want to just get curious about it, is just to trust and know that it comes in your own thoughts. Journal, meditate, take a few minutes a day just to ground and just to, center yourself. Don't believe, your logical mind. Like, our thoughts will never stop. They're just going to come and they're going to go, and we're going to have repetitive thoughts, and they're just going to keep happening and happening. But just to quiet yourself down, come back to the present moment. That's where peace lives. Rest and reset, journaling, meditating, and then just asking your angels for signs,
That's huge.
and just chat and get curious, see what comes in.
So now let's talk about your yellow. Speaking of signs, let's talk about your yellow balloon sign.
Okay, so if you ask the universe to show you a sign, I want everyone to try this, and then I want everyone to write in the notes to Jim if it worked. So what I want you to do is I want you to think of a symbol, any kind. It could be a rabbit. It could be a butterfly. But my yellow balloon, I picked a yellow balloon when I was asking the universe if they were paying attention. So I was on a retreat in Sedona. I've done this before, but I happened to be on a retreat in Sedona. And they were saying, okay, let's see if the universe is paying attention. Everyone pick a sign, and within 1 to 3 to 5 days, you'll see this sign. So everyone was picking, rabbits, turtles, butterflies, this, that, or whatever.
Rocks
I said,
in the desert.
I'm
I'll see a rock.
I'm going to go with the yellow balloon. Where in the middle of this, canyon or this vortex or whatever am I going to see a yellow balloon? So long story short, the days are going by and everyone's like, oh, I saw a rabbit, it was like a statue in the bathroom. And I saw the Allstate hands, and I had, this is the image that, are 2 hands together. Right. And everyone was doing their, finding their signs, and they kept asking me, did I see mine? I said, no. So it's one of the last days, and the psychic didn't see. They were laughing. They were like, "Oh, okay, well, she didn't see her sign yet." So anyway, so we had to be at yoga in the morning, right? And I'm not an early bird. I hate getting up early. I'm a smoker or whatever. So my roommate and I, she's like, we got to get to yoga. I'm like, I'm going to go outside and smoke. It's still like dark out. I'm like, I'll get there when I get there. I step outside, I light my cigarette, and it's dark. And I see through the trees this flickering flame. And I'm like, what in the world is that? It's just coming up through the trees very slowly. And I'm looking, and I'm trying to decipher what the heck it is. And then as the sun was starting to, it was getting lighter, this giant yellow hot air balloon came out of the sky. And now if I had not gone out to smoke and just went to yoga, I would have missed it entirely. Right. I wouldn't. But those are the synchronicities. Those are the things. Like, why did I do that? Why did I wake up late? Why did I go outside? And there it was. And when I tell you, I took a picture of it, it was floating up in the air. And then when it got to like the middle of the sky, it was enormous, and everybody then saw, could see it, as we were,
downward dog.
Yeah.
When you were downward dogging.
Exactly. So, but it was just nice. Now I have tried that before, a few times. But I don't know. Maybe yellow balloons have become my thing. But
that's cool though.
But I've done that before, and the universe will show you. Now they'll show you whether it's in a magazine or on a TV commercial or a billboard, or it will be physically real in front of you. But the key is you can't go looking for it. So if you ask for the sign, if you ask the universe for the sign, right, and say, show me a yellow balloon, within 1 to 5 days, you will see it. But if you go looking for it, it doesn't count. You know what I mean? You're just going to be flipping through the TV, and all of a sudden there'll be a commercial of a car, and then like your sign will be right there. And it's just validation. Funny. And then it just gets you excited that, what, the universe is listening.
See, I was going to ask you where the signs come from, who sends them. And you're saying it's the universe that's sending you these
Yeah,
These
I
signs.
mean, it's what you choose to believe. Universe, source, God,
Okay. Okay.
angels, loved ones. It's everything, because you got to remember, everything is energy,
Right.
right? Everything is energy. So we have to like let go of the logical thinking of why, who's sending it, how is it happening, da da da
Right.
da. We just have to be open and trust that the universe is listening.
Fair. Now that's cool. Thank you. Thank
Yeah.
you for sharing your story too.
Oh, anytime. I have
It's an
millions.
amazing. I'm sure you do. I'm sure you do. So, as we were talking about, and you had mentioned music, it's a natural transition into our musical questions.
Mhm.
But before I do that, I want to mention again for the part 3 of our 3-part series, we're going to be talking about angels, spirit, your spiritual team, which could include. Oh, will you do cards in
Yeah.
the next one? You talk. Oh, fantastic,
Yeah.
fantastic. Which is a divination tool that Irene uses, and that
Oracle.
is
Yeah.
it's gonna be cool. You guys won't want to miss that one for sure. Okay, so as anyone can tell you that's listened to the podcast before, this is the section when I ask questions, for musical questions specifically, of our guests. And this is pillar 4 of our show. And as I mentioned regularly, music is the tie that binds. And I truly believe that everyone has a soundtrack that accompanies their life if they just take a moment to think about it. So, are you ready for your musical questions?
I am.
Okay. Well, I know last time we talked about the first song you fell in love with on the radio, and then the family song that you would belt out, and your hype playlist. But I'm curious if you have a song that you can say that would best describe you, or even if you wanted to break it down into your to your company right now. Do you have a song that could be your theme song?
My theme song. Okay. Not that it's personal, but it is personal. So I'm going to share it with the listeners because I love you. Is in my own personal space right now, what's in my heart and what's going on is the song that I sing out loud like all the time is "Say What You Need to Say" by uh
Say what you need to
"Say What
say.
You Need to Say." What's it? Well, who sings that song?
Oh, I think I
Um,
know. I think I know that song.
wait a minute. Hang on a second. Why do I have a mental blank? Hang
Well,
on.
because I probably took you
Wait.
off guard.
I know who. I know. Gotta find out who sings that song. You know what? I'm not singing it because I hate. You know, you're gonna make me. Oh, John Mayer.
Oh yeah,
John Mayer. Say what you need to say.
"Say" is his
Yeah.
song.
Oh, is it? All right. Well, what
Yeah.
do I know?
Well, no, I just looked it up. I cheated.
Yeah. Yeah.
And there's another one that says "Say what you need to say," which is from The Art of Dying.
Oh
I don't
no,
know.
that's not me. And my song, and also, I want to see you be brave. Say what you want to say and let the words come out. Honestly, I want to see you be
Are you going to
brave.
start doing the
Right?
Running Man?
Right. Those songs. And
I love that.
the other one that Pink has a new song that I love is Trust Fall.
She is something else, man.
When
I'll
you
tell you.
listen to those lyrics about like the universe having your back, listen to that song like on 10, and just really listen to the words of that song. And for me right now in my personal life, it's like, just trust the universe, trust what life, has to offer.
That's
And
cool.
don't be afraid anymore. Don't be afraid of what's going to happen. My kids are going to college. Everyone's like,
Yeah.
we're always like, we're always worrying and moving and doing, and, my coaching business. And then, the readings and like doing this we're always like on automatic. And now I'm just really, those 3 songs are just like, just lean into life, lean into being open, leaning and trusting that everything is everything that is happening is meant for you. Right. There's no mistakes. Right. And we're here on earth to experience life. We're here on earth to learn the lessons, even if they're shitty, even if they're really hard lessons. It brings us closer back to us, our soul. It brings us back to
where
the
you're
love
supposed
that
to
we have
be
inside ourselves, and to be brave, right? And to have trust and faith in that, the universe has my back. And I'm really like kind of stepping into that more often, and it's become more normal for me now, which is insane. You know what I mean? Because
I was just thinking about Pink too. I mean, she's a powerful lyricist and songwriter, and she incorporates a lot of her life experiences into her music. And I think that that's probably very cathartic for her too, to be able to get some of that out there. Some of it's great, and some of it's incredibly painful for her. But it's, I think, kind of what you were saying before, where you journal, you write it down. You could write somebody a letter that you just want to get that off your chest, and then you just burn it, tear it up, whatever it is. And I think that that's her way of just getting it out there, which is above and beyond the fact that it's so personal a lot of times too. It's just amazing that she's willing to take that chance.
And the beauty of music, and like I said, with the messages that come through the lyrics, if you really listen to them, is human experience makes connection. Right. So even when Pink writes those lyrics, and it's really digging deep down into her, core of her life experiences, how many listeners out there can relate to exactly the emotion and feeling?
Way too many sometimes. Right.
So, but that's the beauty of, music and
the connection that
it's
occurs.
the tie that bonds. Right. And and we don't really take, we like certain artists. I love country music, but then I kind of feel sad. I'm like, oh, I get a little, but some of it's upbeat and fun. And, it can change your mood. Sometimes when I just am in a little bit of a lower space, I'm not going to listen to sad music. I'm going to listen to like my,
Katrina and the Waves,
playlist,
walking on sunshine.
Right.
And
you just start your day, and it just, the energy, because you had mentioned that energy is vibration, right?
Yes.
It's all vibration. So when you're listening to music that's uplifting and like energetic and going, and when you're working
100%.
out, right, you have your playlist. And that's because that energy from the music it's coming into us, into our cells, and into our, nervous system, which creates our moods. So I love that.
That's excellent. So I'm going to ask you 2 more musical questions for this episode, and then we'll save a few more for the next one. What are maybe some songs that you believe could alter the future of the world if people really listen to them?
Alter the future of the world?
Yeah, I mean, or just change. I shouldn't say alter the future, but change. Maybe, okay, so I'll give you an example, not to give it away. So Man in the Mirror by Michael Jackson. Because you're talking about change occurs when it starts with the person that you're looking at in the mirror. Other people might just be dancing to that, and then they're not like, well, what is that? Man in the mirror. Oh, I got to make that change. And then if you make that change and it goes, and then you tell 2 friends and you tell 2 friends and so on. And so, it's that sort of thing. So that's what I mean.
I think Justin Timberlake wrote a song about that too, right? It was about his grandfather. It's like you're my mirror.
Oh, really?
It's like
okay.
You're my mirror. The mirror staring back at me. Right?
That's cool.
You don't remember that song?
No. I got to say that I'm not a
being
JT
on your
guy.
Podcast, but I hate the fact that I'm actually singing.
No, I love it. I love it, and I knew you would eventually.
You
I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do it.
Justin Timberlake wrote that, but that song was about his grandfather.
That's cool.
But if you listen to the lyrics of that song, is it's a beautiful song. I don't know
What
if it'll
else?
change the world, but it helps you. It definitely helps you. Look inside. Look within.
So when I answered some of those questions, obviously this is my perspective on it. Like One Love, Bob Marley. There's so many songs that are out there. Like I mentioned Man in the Mirror, but I didn't say that one because one of my other guests did, Mandy, had mentioned that on the podcast. But there are other songs that are out there that do that. But
yeah,
so we can even go back to that on another time because we're on a crunch right now.
I would say Let It Be.
Oh, that's a good one.
That would be a good one. And don't make me say that. One. Let it be.
All I have to do is be quiet for a minute.
No, I'm not. I'm not singing that. I will butcher, but no. Let It Be is the world. If world could just let things be and let the stories that they're creating.
Will be an answer.
Yeah, there will be an answer. Just let it be, right? And that's exact. Oh my God, that was channeled.
There will be an answer. Oh, I just got the chills.
Yeah, right. Because there will be an answer. Just let it be, right? Just tap in, go inward, just be centered. Listen to the messages. Ask for assistance. Let it be.
Holy shit! Music just popped on.
Ah, what song is it?
It's called Strutting on Sunday by Aaron Neville. And I swear to God, I didn't touch anything. I'm putting that down.
All right, let's listen to the lyrics of that and see what it has to say.
I will look at that. I will look those lyrics up. Actually, I'll put it on. Yeah. And I'll put it on because that was wacky. Okay. I mean, I swear to God, I did nothing. Okay, so here's the last song.
By the way, I know. Okay, by the way, I just want to tell the listeners that Jim attaches the playlist to each podcast. And today I was cooking and I put on the playlist on Spotify and I had a ball with all the songs that were coming up and everything that we talked about in the last episode. And I listened to it like most of the afternoon, and it just brought me back to all those great memories of high school and, younger days. And my kids were like, what the heck are you doing? But it was just music really just, can change the energy and, really uplift your day. So just start,
it can transport you. That's for sure.
Yeah. Transported me right back to the day.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. I love that. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you for sharing. So here's the last song. Or the last song, the last question. There are songs that ring so true that they just stop you in your tracks. And the lyrics sound like they were written specifically for you or by you. What song is that for you and why?
Oh, boy. I gotta give that some thought. I'm not sure, Jim.
Did I stump you? I can't stump you.
There's a lot of songs that I feel like you may stump me.
Awkward silence.
I think I'm gonna have to. I know.
Okay,
I think I'm gonna have to think about that and share that with you on our next podcast.
That's totally fine.
There are a lot that really get me right here. Yeah. There's one that's sticking out from me that was from a movie. Man, my brain is fried today. My kids watch it all the time. I'll get back to you on that.
No, that's totally fine. That's totally fine. No problem at all.
I'll get back to you on that. There are a few good ones. Oh, The Showman, Greatest Showman.
Okay.
The Greatest Showman. There's now I can't remember the name.
Is that with Wolverine in it?
Yes.
Okay. I forgot his name. What's his real name? Not
I
Wolverine.
forget.
Hugh Jackman.
There you go.
Okay.
Yeah, there's a song in there that I resonate with deeply.
Well, I will, if you think about it, let me know what it is, and then I will put it on the
On our
playlist for
playlist.
sure.
Good.
For sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
It was the I don't know.
Well,
It's
fine.
glorious. When the sharpest words are gonna cut you down. Do you know that? Did you ever see this movie?
I saw it once.
All right, I'm gonna get you the name of it.
Okay. Okay.
This is me.
Oh, this is me. Fantastic. Thank you.
There we go. It took me a minute.
Thank you. That took you about 4.5 by the.
Yeah. Greatest Showman. This is me.
Okay.
I love that song. I feel like that's right there.
Excellent. Well, it's just about time to cue the music for today's episode, but don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to the Drop the Needle podcast to stay up to date on our latest episodes. I would also like to take a moment to thank everyone again for tuning in today, and I hope you enjoyed the episode of the Drop the Needle podcast. I'd also like to thank our very special guest, Irene Doreste, for being on our show again today. And you can get in touch with Irene through her website, which is www.soulsurgerylifecoaching.com. Again, that is www.soulsurgerylifecoaching.com. And Irene's programs are offered as individual or one-on-one sessions, as well as group settings, workshops, and speaking events. And I invite you to head on over to the show notes where there's a link to the playlist from today's episode. All right, my Drop the Needle posse, like Billy Joel says, from the highs to the lows to the end of the show, this is the end of our show. Until next time, this is Jim Allstott, wishing you infinite health and happiness and the perfect playlist for your life. Thank you again for being the best part of us. Catch you next time.